أعزائي المشاهدين، أهلا وسهلا بكم بحلقة جديدة من برنامج موفرز أند شيكر. وياكم مقدم البرنامج نيك نجار. كالمعتاد كل أسبوع عندنا ضيوف ويانا. ضيوفنا يختلفون، منهم سياسيين، منهم رجال دين، منهم رجال أعمال. نحاول نجيب ضيوفنا اللي يشرحوا لنا ايش دا يصير بالعملية الانتخابية الحالية في الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية وفي ولاية ميشيغان الأمريكية. بنفس الوقت إذا عندنا رجال أعمال يطرحون ويشرحوا لنا ماذا يجري في الاقتصاد الأمريكي. اليوم عندنا ويانا ضيفنا ضيف الحلقة اليوم السيد بول فونو، اللي هو ثاني شخص المنصب ماله بعد المحافظ مدينة وارن، اللي يسموه سيتي كليرك. سيتي كليرك صار له سنين طويلة وراح يتحدث لنا عن نفسه. حاليا هو مرشح نفسه لمقاطعة ماكوم كاونتي اللي تشمل عشرات من المدن على مستوى أكثر. مدينة وارن هي ثالث أكبر مدينة في ولاية ميشيغان، اللي عدد نفوسها ما يقارب 140 ألف شخص. ومقاطعة ماكوم اللي منصب المرشح نفسه هو للمقاطعة يحتوي على أكثر من مليون شخص في ولاية ميشيغان الأمريكية. Paul, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Nick.
Paul, I know you for over 20 years, more than 20 years. You are I call you a career politician. You and your wife, Lisa, you serve in the people for over 25 years. I don't want to give a lot of information. I want to give you the opportunity to you to explain to our viewers who's Paul Wojno.
Well, I've been involved in public service, both my wife and I, for, as you say, over the past 20 years as elected officials. I got my start working for Mayor Ron Bunkowski. Going back to 1986, I was part of the mayor's administration for 10 years. And in 1996, the mayor decided not to seek re-election. And so I ran for state representative at that time and was elected to serve in the 28th district, which took in half the city of Warren and all the city of Centerline. And I served in that capacity for 6 years. And then subsequent to that, my wife, who was very active with the Michigan Nursing Association and health-related issues, she was recruited by the Michigan Nurses Association to seek my seat, and she was elected in 2002. And while she was in the House, I was working in the state Senate. So we were both involved in a lot of the legislative activities in the House and the Senate in Lansing. And then in 2007, our city clerk, Richard Salaka, who I think you knew very well, decided to run for mayor, and that created an open seat in the city of Warren. So I ran for Warren City Clerk in 2007 and was elected, and I've been in that capacity since for over 8 years, Warren being the third largest city here in the state of Michigan.
Yeah, just mentioned that. أعزائي المشاهدين، وين السيد بول فونو اللي حاليا هو منصبه ثاني شخص بعد المحافظ في مدينة وارن، اللي مرشح نفسه لقضية مقاطعة ماكوم كاونتي. سألت عن حياته والماضي السياسي للسيد بول فونو. يقول سنة 86 كان أحد الأشخاص المقربين من المحافظ لمدينة وارن، كان يعمل ويا مع المحافظ في لجنة الإدارية. بسنة 96 يقول المحافظ تقاعد وترك العمل السياسي، فهو توجه إلى مدينة لانسينغ اللي هي عاصمة ولاية ميشيغان، رشح نفسه لعضو مجلس النواب في ولاية ميشيغان، فاز بالانتخابات، وبعدين وراها قدم بعد 6 سنوات قدم إلى مجلس الشيوخ السناتور في ولاية ميشيغان بلانسينغ. وبسنة 2002 زوجته ترشحت إلى عضوية مجلس النواب في ولاية ميشيغان. في سنة 2007 السيد ريتشارد سولاقة اللي كان واحد من أبناء جاليتنا رشح نفسه إلى عضوية يكون محافظ لمدينة وارن اللي هي ثالث أكبر مدينة في ولاية ميشيغان. صار اكو مكان فارغ أو كرسي فارغ أو موقع فارغ، مقعد فارغ في مدينة وارن. ففي سنة 2007 السيد بول رشح نفسه ولا يزال مستمر لحد هذا اليوم. يوم 2/8 بعد عدة أيام راح تكون الانتخابات. إذا فاز راح يتحول من مدينة إلى مقاطعة اللي تشمل أكثر من مليون شخص. Paul, you and your wife, you serve a lot. You serve the communities in a different capacity. You serve the state. What made Paul want to go to the politics?
I've always been interested in political process. Both my mother and my father were actively involved. In fact, going back to my grandparents, my grandfather was an organizer with the UAW. He worked as a business agent as well. And my father's father, my other grandfather, was very active in the UAW itself. And my mother worked for Solidarity House at one time when she was younger. So I've always been involved in the political process. We worked on campaigns as children, locally and statewide as well. My parents were involved. So it's something that I've always been involved with.
blood.
Yes.
سؤالي لانه خلى انه يختار هذا الطريق انه طريق السياسه. فيقول احنا بعائلتنا ابوه وامه كانوا سياسيين، وجده حتى جده كان قبل سنين طويله كان هو سياسي ايضا. فيقول هي تمشي بالعائله، يعني كانه وراثه هي بالعائله انه تكون من الجد والاب وبعدين يجي هو. I hope your kids not going to be politician too.
Sometimes I think the same way, yes.
How many kids do you have?
I have 3 children.
3 children. How old is the oldest?
My oldest one is 19 years old,
Oh, so
and she's in her 2nd year of college.
Wow, that's nice.
And I have a son that's 17, he'll be a senior in high school, and then a 14-year-old daughter who'll be starting high school this year.
I can see in a couple of more years we're going to hear another name, Wojno. It's in Warren, city of Warren or somewhere. Another one of the child after graduation from college.
Yeah.
They're going to be in a politics career too.
Sometimes you being a parent as well, sometimes we hope that our children go into different careers than what we're involved with.
You know, that's what happened. Me and my wife and we were realtor. My son he graduated from Lawrence Tech as an engineer. Still, he went to real estate business. You know, he said, Dad, you and Mom both, you know, you're active, well known in the community. You know, I'm getting it the easy way. So he's just got involved now. He's building homes, and you know, he's an architect at the same time. I'm building home. So I noticed the doctor, they have the doctor attorneys, they have an attorneys. So سؤالي للسيد بول انه هل انه في عندنا اولاده يكونوا سياسيين؟ فيقول انا عندي 3 اولاد، واحد 19 واحد 17 واحد 15. يقول حاليا يقول انا اذا احاول انه ما يخليهم يدخلون السياسه، بس يقول هي على رغبتهم هم. Paul, let's talk about city clerk. Let's start with you've been in a Warren for over 30 years, service in Warren, even when you were a state rep, but you still served Warren. What exactly, I know city council, most people, they know what's city council, they know what's the mayor. They don't, a lot of people, they don't understand what city clerk does.
Well, we have the
It's
3.
an elected
It is
position.
it was elected, the mayor, the clerk, and the treasurer are all separate elected offices, and we're all autonomous. City council presides over our budget, and the clerk is a chief elections officer in the city of Warren. Really, that's our biggest responsibility, is handling the elections when it is election day, but also the preparation that goes into it starts months and months before the actual election date itself. And then we handle all business licensing as well in the city, dog licensing, and I also administer oaths to everyone that's required to under the ordinance. But the main job of the clerk in the city of Warren is the preparation of elections and the implementation of the election process itself.
سؤالي للسيد بول كان انه ماذا هو منصب السيتي كليرك؟ قلت له انه الاعضاء مجلس البلديه العالم تعرف شنو شغلهم، المير المحافظ يعرفون شغل السيتي كليرك. يقول السيتي كليرك هو الشخص اللي يقوم بعمليه الانتخابات. عندما تحدث عمليه الانتخابات هو اللي ينظم عمليه الانتخابات، بنفس الوقت هو اللي يحلق من الاعضاء اي شخص يفوز بالانتخابات يجون يحلفون ايده، يرفعون القسم، يقدمون القسم. بنفس الوقت اذا واحد يريد اجازات للاعمال او اجازات للحيوانات ينطوهم المكتب مالهم هو يطير. As a father, as a husband, and as a politician, this job is not an easy. This job as a elected official is not an easy job. I know you got a career for 30 years as a politician. And between you and your wife, both of you are in a politics business. How you could manage to be a husband, or she be a wife and a mom and everything together, and so same time, I know it's not only 8 to 5 job. After you leave, you have a lot of function. You have a lot of places to go. You get sometimes call at the midnight. They ask you, there's an issue with the city. You hear about it and you feel it, and you have to talk to other members. How do you manage all that?
It's difficult, especially when you have a family. I think when I was first elected, it was a little bit easier because we didn't have any children at the time. And by the time I was termed out of Lansing, we had 3 young children. But I think you have to establish your priorities. We've always made our family first and foremost, and we've always done that. And when I compare myself to Lisa, being that we both served as state representative, I can honestly say she was a better and smarter state representative than I was.
You know, and seriously, it's hardest as a mom, because a husband, if he leaves, the mom's taking care of the kids. It's very hard as a father. If my wife leaves the work, she's going out to work. When I sit home with the kids when they were little,
Yep.
Now it's easy. When they were little, it was very hard to manage that. Okay, now Paul, we talked a little bit about you. We talked about City of Warren. Let's talk about it. Why Paul Wojno want to move from City of Warren, over 8 years, 9 years there. He want to go to a bigger position. Instead of serving 140,000 people, serving 1 million people almost. More responsibility, more headache. Why Paul Wojno wanted that challenge?
Well, I think it more as a challenge and not a headache, and it's something that we weren't planning on. You know, our county clerk, Carmela Seba, she's been in that capacity for over 25 years, and she chose at the last week of her of filing for office that she decided not to run for office. And so looking at the county clerk's position and the challenges at the county level, and the county clerk is a different type of job compared to the municipal clerk. But I thought at that time with her retirement, it would be terrific to go on to the county and take on those duties and responsibilities. She's done a tremendous job over these past 25 years. In fact, as county clerk, I think Carmela's earned over 50 national awards and recognitions for her services and some of the new ideas that they've implemented at the county level.
سؤالي سيد بول انه انت تتغير موقعك من سيتي كليرك من مدينة وارن الى المقاطعة، راح يكون الشغل اكثر وراح تكون مسؤوليات اكثر، فيقول اني ما كنت افكر بها، بس الشخص اللي كان بهذا المنصب اللي هي كارميلا صابوا اللي كانت بهذا المنصب مدة 25 سنة واللي كانت معروفة جدا وحائزة على أكثر من 50 جائزة، يقول أسبوع واحد قبل الانتخابات قررت أنه تنسحب وتتقاعد. يقول فصار شاغر بالمقعد، فقررت أني أنه أدخل المعركة الانتخابية للفوز بهذا المنصب. There's only one seat as a county clerk. How many candidates there?
There's 3 Democratic candidates and there's 3 Republican candidates.
So there's 6 people fighting for one seat.
Yes, and what of course we have is the primary. The primary will take 1 individual from each party. So of course we'll have 1 Democratic candidate and 1 Republican candidate that will go on after the primary election to November. And it's one thing sometimes about primaries. Not everyone wants to participate or doesn't get involved in the primary process, but it's really very important because you have multiple candidates running for a certain position, and it's narrowed down to 2 candidates. And oftentimes we get a very low turnout for an August primary. And yet there's a lot of important selections that are on the ballot, the offices. Plus there's numerous ballot proposals as well. So we really hope that we get a good, strong August primary turnout next week.
سؤالي للسيد بول انه بالنسبه له هو رشح نفسه هذا المنصب، فكم شخص هو مقعد واحد شاغر، كم شخص انه مرشحين نفسهم؟ يقول لك 3 من الحزب الديمقراطي و3 من الحزب الجمهوري. يوم 2/8 اوغست 2 راح يكون الانتخابات، راح يصير تصفيات، راح يطلع واحد من الحزب الجمهوري وواحد من الحزب الديمقراطي. بيوم 8/11 نوفمبر 8 راح تكون التصفيات الاخيره النهائيه، راح يفوز واحد بهذا المقعد. فيقول ان شاء الله احنا بهذه التصفيات يكون عندنا موقع. Paul, election. We talked about Paul, we talked about this position, we talked about Everett. Let's talk about election. A lot of people, they have no idea what is qualification to a person who can vote.
Okay, the person has to be a minimum of 18 years old by election day. So even if someone is 17 years of age, they can still register prior to the election, providing that they turn 18 by election day. You do need to register 30 days before any election. You do need to be a U.S. citizen, and they'll give you the ability to participate and vote.
سألت ما هي شروط الشخص انه يمكن يرشح نفسه او الشخص اللي ممكن يصوت؟ فقال لك 3 شروط. الشرط الاول يوم الانتخابات، يوم التصويت يكون عمره الشخص 18 سنه، ممكن يرشح. شيء ثاني لازم يكون مسجل للانتخابات قبل شهر من موعد الانتخابات، أقل شيء شهر. والشيء الثالث أنه هو الشخص يكون عنده الجنسية الأمريكية، سيتيزن أمريكي. هذه الشروط هي حتى الشخص يروح يرشح نفسه. I know, I heard in the news, we talked about it previously, about the straight ballots. Democrat, in August 2nd, either you're going to vote straight ballot Democrat or straight ballot Republican. In general election, you don't have to do that. I heard Mark Brewer, he was one of the champions of keeping it this way. Did the law pass or did not pass?
Right now, that is still being considered by the court. There's been a lower court ruling that supports the challenge by Mark Brewer, and basically that would to keep straight party ticket voting. There's actually two ways you can vote, and this kind of touches upon your previous question. You can either vote at the polls on election day, or you can vote by absentee ballot.
Yeah, that's my
And
next question.
but either way, the straight ticket party voting applies, whether you're voting at the polls or whether you're voting by absentee ballot. But right now, there is a court ruling that supports the challenge to keep straight party ticket voting, and we do know that the court is under a certain time frame, so they will issue a decision on that within the next 2 to 3 or 4 weeks, because again, it takes us quite a long time to process and prepare for the November election.
So this coming August 2nd, the election, is going to be straight party list.
The straight party ticket actually applies to the general election in November.
Okay.
In the August election, you cannot split your ballot. So
regardless of the law, August is not going to change.
It doesn't change at all, because in August, you're required to either vote Republican or Democrat down the ballot. In November, you do have the ability to split your vote or vote entire straight party ticket, where you'd color in an oval and you'd either vote all Democratic, all Republican, all Independent. So that's where the challenge is at for the November election.
سؤالي انه في امريكا في الانتخابات التمهيديه والتصويت يكون على حزب واحد، يعني القائمه تعتمد على الحزب الديمقراطي او الحزب الجمهوري او المستقلين، فالشخص ما يقدر يختار شخص من الحزب الديمقراطي وشخص من الحزب الجمهوري، فيختارون انه لازم يختار كلهم ديمقراطيين او كلهم جمهوريين او كلهم مستقلين. في الانتخابات العامه اللي راح تكون بشهر 11 الشخص ممكن يختار من الديمقراطيين وممكن من الجمهوريين. حاليا الحزب الديمقراطي يحاول انه يخلي انه في حاله الانتخابات العامه انه الناس لا تصوت جمهوري ديمقراطي، بس يقدروا يصوتون شو ما يصوتون بشهر الثامن بالانتخابات التمهيديه على حزب واحد فقط، ما يقدر يختار مثلا رئيس من مكان وسنتر من مكان وعضو مجلس البلديه من مكان اخر. How about the judges? They're not Democrat. They're not
Judges are nonpartisan. That's correct.
So how are they going to pick if it's straight ballot? So they can go just check the judge.
The judicial section is actually a separate section on the ballot. Yes. So they'll either be voting straight Republican or straight Democrat in the August primary, and then there's the nonpartisan section, and then they will be voting for the judges. And of course, throughout the county, there's various different judicial races, but of course we have the circuit court judges that are up on the ballot as well.
Yeah. يقول بالنسبة للحكام والقضاة هم ناس غير منتسبين إلى الأحزاب، فتقدر تختار أي شيء إذا مهما كان هو أي قاضي من أي مكان تقدر تختاره، ما بقدر يكون جمهوري أو ديمقراطي بالحالة هذه. All we were just mentioned a few minutes ago about absentee ballots. Absentee ballots, somebody you don't want to go to the poll elect. What is the qualification for that? Who is qualified to go absentee ballot?
Once you turn 60 years of age, and I've hit that milestone now, so you're automatically eligible to vote by absentee ballot. And of course, if you're going to be absent from the community, if for religious reasons you cannot come to the polls on election day, your job keeps you from voting, you can request an absentee ballot. Absentee ballot is a very convenient way to vote, and we encourage people, especially in November, since we anticipate that there's going to be long lines for the presidential election, to get an absentee ballot. There has been legislation in the past in Lansing that would permit individuals to automatically request an absentee ballot, meaning they wouldn't have to provide a reason. All cities throughout the state have what they call a permanent absentee ballot list. So if you meet one of the criteria for voting by absentee ballot, you can call your local clerk and your name can be placed on that list. And what will happen is prior to every election, you will receive an application automatically to vote by absentee ballot. And then you can check if you want to vote for the primary or the general or both elections absentee ballot, and you'll receive your ballot that way. One thing to remember though, if you are on a city's absentee permanent list, and let's say you live in Sterling Heights and you move to the city of Warren, state law requires that you have to ask the new clerk to be put on their permanent absentee ballot list.
سؤالي للسيد بول انه الانتخابات الغيابيه في امريكا يسمحون الناس انه ينتخبون غيابيا، فسالته ما هي الشروط التي تسمح للشخص ان يصوت غيابيا. التصويت الغيابي يقول ان الشخص يكون عمره 60 سنه فما فوق يسمحوا له، الشخص اللي معاق، الشخص اللي عنده مثلا مناسبه دينيه وما يريد يطلع يروح يصوت، او عمله يفرض عليه انه يوم الانتخابات يكون خارج المدينه ومن حقه انه ينتخب. فالتصويت هذه الشروطيه تنطي المؤهلات تسمح للشخص ان يصوت، فيدز الى المدينه اللي يسكن بها، يقول لهم انا اريد اصوت غيابيا، يقدر يصوت غيابيا بالانتخابات التمهيديه او الانتخابات العامه او اثنينهم. يقول هسه يشتغلون عليها انه يريدون يخلون ان اي شخص مهما كان عمره بعد لحد ما قرروا هذا القرار، اي شخص مهما كان عمره انه يقدر يصوت تصويت غيابي، بس لحد هسه القوانين التشريعات ما سمحوا لهم لحد هسه. فوق somebody وبالمناسبه ايضا قال انه اذا شخص يعيش بسترلينغ هايتس وتحول الى مدينه وورن، فيقول حتى لو انه كان طالب من المدينه انه يكون دائمي التصويت الدائمي انه راح يكون هو غيابيا ما راح يحضر، وهذه بها منفعه انه ما راح يوقف بالسره حتى يصوت، وخاصه بالانتخابات العامه. فيقول بس لازم من يتحول من سترلينغ هايتس الى وورن او من مدينه الى مدينه لازم يروح السيتي كليرك مال ذيك المدينه ويقول ما تحولت حتى يغيرون العنوان ماله. So somebody is going to be permanent, so you don't have to go automatically. They're going to send them. Would they send an application first?
Yes, state law requires that you first have to fill out an application, send it back to the local clerk, and then we can send you an absentee ballot.
So when, after you receive the city clerk, receive the application, immediately they mail an application, I mean the ballot to the
Yes,
citizen?
once we receive the ballots are printed by a company known as Printing Systems. In fact, the county clerk is actually entrusted with the duties of ordering all the ballots for the local municipalities. So what we do is we put our order in with the county clerk, and then the county clerk will contact Printing Systems, and they print up ballots for the entire Macomb County, in fact, really the Tri-County area. In Warren alone, we have over 100,000 registered voters, and our absentee voters number about 16,000. So we have quite a number of absentee ballots that come in.
يقول طريقة الحصول على البالوت أو الاستمارة أنه الشخص يتصل بالمدينة اللي يسكن بها، هو يقول أنا أريد استمارة التصويت الغيابي، فيدزوا له استمارة، يترسل استمارة ويدزها لهم، بعد ما يستلموها المدينة السيتي كليرك يستلمها، يدزوا لهم ورقة الانتخابات، الشخص يقعد بالبيت، هو قاعد بالبيت ينتخب أي شخص يعجبه، يترسل الوثيقة أو استمارة التصويت ويدزها للمدينة قبل يوم التصويت. فبالحالة راح يخلص منها، ماكو داعي يروح يسوي. يقول مدينة وورن وحدها بها أكثر من 100,000 شخص يصوتون، 15 إلى 16,000 شخص يدزون عن طريق التصويت الغيابي. Election, we talked about Warren, we talked about election, we talked about the ballots, we talked about everything, we talked about family. Now let's go to the county clerk.
Okay.
County clerk, as you said, there's a lot more than dog license, cat license, and election. There's other things in a county. What other duties the county clerk does?
Well, the county clerk is the chief keeper of the records of all the county records in Macomb County. And of course, the county clerk in Oakland County, the same thing. They're the clerk to the 16th Circuit Court as well. And they're also the clerk to approximately 10 boards and commissions. And of course, they handle birth and death records, the Register of Deeds office as well. And the county clerk interfaces with all the local clerks throughout Macomb County in the setup and the preparation of the elections itself. As I indicated earlier, they order the ballot on election night. We modem the results. In fact, all the cities in Macomb County modem results to the county clerk, and the county clerk then is responsible for posting those results and making those available throughout the county.
سألت سؤال انه الموقع اللي مرشح نفسه حاليا هو اللي ماكوم كاونتي كليرك، شنو هي واجباته؟ يقول واجباته انه الموقع هذا الموقع اللي مختاره هو، يقول انه يقوم بواجبات كثيره، منها الانتخابات، منها تسجيل العقارات، منها الواحد يتزوج، واحد يطلق، كل الوثائق اللي تتعلق بحياه الانسان تنخزن عندهم بالمقاطعه، والشخص حتى الانتخابات التصويت، الاوراق التصويت هم اللي ينتخبوها، هم اللي يطبعوها يوزعوها للمدن كلها ويحتفظون بها. يوم الانتخابات كل المدن اللي بها انتخابات من تخلص الانتخابات يدزون النتائج الى المقاطعه وهم يعلنوها للناس. A lot of harder jobs, broader jobs, bigger jobs, but somebody like you, very qualified, you've been in the public service, you did this in a smaller scale, but I'm sure you can do in a better, bigger scale. What do you think? What's your chance of winning this election?
Well, we're very optimistic. You mentioned qualifications. I'm very proud of the qualifications. In fact, out of all 6 candidates on the ballot that are running for the county clerk's office, I'm the only one that has any type of experience as a clerk. I've been a municipal clerk for 8 years now of Michigan's 3rd largest city, the largest city in Macomb County, and I also have I've presided over 23 state, federal, and local elections, and the Secretary of State also requires us that we be certified. So I've taken over 20 classes through the Michigan Secretary of State. I'm a certified clerk, and as I indicated, the only clerk that's actually on the ballot. And very proud of the endorsements that I've received.
Sure.
County Executive Mark Hackle, Eric Smith, our county prosecutor, our county sheriff Anthony Wickersham, Mayor James Fouts, and the Detroit News just recently endorsed me as well this week. So I'm very proud of that, and the UAW.
السؤال لانه للشخص هذا انه شغلك هذا راح يكون اكبر واوسع، فيقول انا بالنسبه لي واحد من ال6 اعضاء اللي عندهم اكثر مؤهلات من اي شخص اخر من بقيه ال5 اشخاص الاخرين اللي مرشحين نفسهم، لانه هذا موقع ماله بالمدينه راح يكون نفس الموقع. هذوك الاخرين اللي ما عندهم هالخبره اللي عنده هو، يقول انه بالنسبه له حصل على تأييد رئيس المقاطعه والمدعي العام مال المقاطعه ومدير الشرطه مال المقاطعه، حتى الجرايد الديترويت نيوز وغيرها رشحوه وصوتوا له، والمير مال وورن يعني محافظ وورن ايده بالحمله الانتخابيه. يقول حظوظه كلش كبيره بفوز بهذا الموقع. Let's say today's election, August 2nd, and power went out. What's going to happen then?
There's still a mechanism in place for the process to continue. The optical scanning machines that we have, yes, it needs electricity, but should power be knocked out, ballots would be fed into the machine and it goes into a side bin. And then once power is restored at the end of the day, that bin can be opened up and then the ballots can be run through and then retabulated. We've had instances not with power going out, but with the machine breaking down. And so again, we use the side chute where the ballot is put into. Those ballots are kept separate. And then once power is restored, the precinct coordinator or the captain or one of our quadrant leaders would return, and they have that authority then to open up that pocket on the side of the machine and then feed the ballots through so they would be tabulated at the end of the evening.
سؤالي لانه اذا في حال انقطاع التيار الكهربائي او عطل بالماكينه التصويت ايش راح يصير؟ يقول راح ياخذوها الماكينه، الناس راح تخلي طبعا ورقه الانتخابات راح تروح في مخزن مثل المخزن داخل الماكينه تنحفظ هناك الى ان يرجع الكهرباء، راح او يصلحون الماكينه وراح يرجع شخص معين راح يخليها كلها بالماكينه هاي وتنجح. A lot of countries in the world, there's cheating in the election. If there's any chance in America to happen that?
No. What these machines are, they were purchased under HAVA, that is the Help America Vote Act. We're all familiar with what happened in Florida with the hanging chads back in 2000 between Al Gore and George Bush. The federal government stepped forward and they actually bought voting equipment, optical scanning equipment for everyone throughout the country. And so there's 3 types of machines that are throughout the country, and Warren has a certain type of a machine, and they all operate basically under the same system, where there's a check and a balance of course. But the Help America Voter Act was established to eliminate problems. Now going forward, we received our equipment in the early 2000s, and the equipment is getting a little bit older. And Warren, we've been very fortunate, because as we've consolidated precincts, we've been able to save equipment that has not been used. But the state of Michigan now is going to be requiring that everyone here throughout the state purchase new voting equipment. Now the state will be providing some money to offset the cost, but this will be a time where you really look at it as an unfunded mandate. In Warren alone, we're looking at perhaps the cost of $250,000 that we will have to put into the kitty to purchase new election equipment. Going forward, farther out, I think a good way to save money is to perhaps do voting by mail, such as we have the absentee ballot for like primary elections. And also in May, sometimes we have school operating millages and ballot proposals. That would save an enormous amount of money if we could run part of our elections by mail, or go to what states like Oregon and Washington do, where they conduct their elections totally by mail.
واو. سؤالي لأن في بعض دول العالم يصير تزوير بالانتخابات، هل هناك نسبة أو تشانس معين أنه يصير تزوير الانتخابات الأمريكية؟ يقول بالنسبة هنا أكو ناس من الحكومة الفدرالية ومن المدينة هم اللي يقومون بهذا، يعني اللي يديرون بالهم على القضايا. بالنسبة يقول كل ضئيلة جدا انه شخص معين، لان المكاين هاي ما راح تساعد شخص معين وراح تكشف اذا اكو غش. يقول احنا المكاين مالنا صار من سنة 2000 هسه السنة الجديدة الحكومة الولاية راح تفرض على كل مدينة انه تشتري مكاين جديدة، حتى اكو مكاين حديثة للتصويت. فيقول احنا مدينة وورن راح تكلف اكثر من $250,000 قسم من الاموال راح تدفعها الولاية، والقسم الاخر راح يدفعوها المدينة راح تدفعها.
You know, briefly, I also want to say from a security point of view too, to your previous question, we work as well with the state and the county in setting up the election. And every ballot, I bought a ballot as well, every ballot is precinct specific. So meaning no matter where you vote in any precinct here in the state of Michigan, there's actually a barcode on the ballot, and that barcode is precinct specific. So you can't really take that ballot and go into another precinct and utilize it. And everything has to balance. So when we return our ballots back to the county, the ballots used and the ballots unused have to balance out as well.
Sure. يقول بالنسبة إلى let me show to my client. يقول هذه هي قسيمة أو ورقة الانتخابات. ورقة الانتخابات هذه هي بكل ولاية ميشيغان نفس الورقة، هي ما راح تتغير. اللي يتغير بها بالنهاية اكو ارقام هنا بالنهاية، نهايتها هذه الارقام كل شخص بس يقدر يصوت بالمنطقة الانتخابية او الموقع الانتخابي له. هاي لو اخذها وراح غير مدينة، مثلا اذا هذا موقع رقم 1 في مدينة وورن، ما يقدر يروح يصوت الموقع رقم 2 حتى بنفس المدينة. فيقول راح تبين حتى هذه راح تخفف او تقلل من نسبة التزوير، لانه شخص ما يقدر ياخذ وحده، عنده اكثر من وحده ويصوت باكثر من مكان. My next question, because you just brought a question to my mind. If my precinct is 52 and I go to precinct 53 in the wrong precinct, what's going to happen then?
What they have is a qualified voter list, and when you check in, your name is on that list as to what precinct you should be voting in. So if you go to precinct 53 instead of 52, they'll direct you to the proper precinct. If you go to another location, they can call back to the clerk's office to find out what precinct you're in. And oftentimes it happens, especially in a presidential election, where we get individuals sometimes from a different city. They may have never voted in Warren before, or they may have lived in Warren previously thinking they can go back. We can call the state, and they can, once we have their name, then we can find out exactly where they're registered to vote and direct them to the proper precinct. Everything is under what they call the qualified voter file, and that's run by the Secretary of State.
يقول إذا سألتك سؤال، إذا شخص راح إلى الموقع الانتخابي بالغلط إيش راح يصير؟ يقول كل شخص عنده وثيقة مع الانتخابات الموقع ماله، فإذا غلطان فراح يحولوه إلى الموقع الانتخابي الصحيح ماله. فيقول حتى لو راح غير من يقول تحصل عندنا وقت الانتخابات الرئاسية، يقول في بعض الأحيان الناس ما مصوتة نهائيا أو إذا صوتوا أول مرة ما يعرفون وين يروحون، بس هو بالبطاقة الانتخابية ماله موجود موقع الانتخابي. Paul, we almost came to the end of the show. Before we end the show, I have a great feeling, and I'm hoping, not only the feeling is a hoping, and I wish a good luck for you
Thank
to
you.
win in August, this coming Tuesday, in August 2nd. Uh, People watching us, and they see Paul Wojno, Nick Najjar sitting here, and they said, you know what? I think Paul Wojno, you have better chance to win, and August 2nd, you're going to beat the Republican or whatever, Democrat, whatever affiliate party you're with. Okay, and I want to help Paul. How they can help?
They can contact me directly.
Which number is?
586-219-3903. That's 586-219-3903. Or they can go to our website, which is Wojno, W-O-J-N-O, the numeral 4, clerk.com. So Wojnoforclerk.com.
If they don't live in the city, they can donate money or volunteer for you.
Absolutely.
So they can, somebody said, oh, I don't live in Warren, or I don't live in Macomb County. They can vote for you. I mean, they cannot vote for you, but they can be volunteer, or they can donate the money for you.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, with next interview is going to be before November. We're going to see you again here on this TV. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Nick, thank you so
wish you
much.
good luck.
Thank you.
As I said, 3 months from now, we're going to sit again here. We're going to talk about, in a few days, the general election. And please go vote for Paul Wojno. أعزائي المشاهدين، كنا مع عضو مجلس البلدية مدينة وارن اللي مرشح نفسه لمقاطعة ماكومب كاونتي، اللي هي ثانية وثالث مقاطعة، أكبر مقاطعة في ولاية ميشيغان، اللي مرشح نفسه لهذا المنصب إن شاء الله يوم 2/8 اللي ساكنين في ولاية ميشيغان مقاطعة ماكومب أن يصوتون لبول فونو. واحد علاقته جيدة مع جماعة الجالية الكلدانية العربية. إن شاء الله نلتقي وياكم في الأسبوع القادم مع ضيف آخر. وياكم نيك نجار، وضيفي كان سيد بول فونو.